Hi, my name is Marty Plecky. About 3 weeks ago, my family and I went to the British Virgin Islands to charter a bareboat sailing catamaran, about 45 feet-ish. It was a lot of fun. Well, part of that trip was to do a few scuba dives. Scuba is self-contained underwater breathing apparatus. Anyhow, I have my own equipment, which I brought, not the weights, just the BC and the mask and fins and a wetsuit. Uh, and I checked all my equipment out before we went, but there was a problem when I got underwater, and this was it. This is the purge valve for letting air out of the BC so that you can sink underwater. And there was a really small leak that I did not notice when I was checking out my equipment. And this is the purge valve that when it's pressed, it lets air into the BC. What ended up happening on the scuba dive was I disconnected this hose because it was letting air into the BC, and I had to purge this thing every, I don't know, well, I purged it here every 2 or 3 minutes, and it just got so annoying. And we weren't at 100 feet or something. We were at between 60 and less feet, so it wasn't a really scary dive, although we did see some sharks. black tip reef sharks. Anyway, I wanted to investigate this thing and see if I could repair it on my own, and I'll show you what it was doing in a minute. This is an old tank that I have. It's got about 700 pounds of air, compressed air in it. And there's my BC. The air's not turned on yet, and I'm going to connect the hose for inflating the BC right here. And now I'll turn the air on, and perhaps you can hear the hissing. All right, so it's pressurized now, and that was inflating the BC. And it's such a small leak, you really can't hear it. Maybe if I take this off. Well, even if you can't hear it, it's leaking, and you would see bubbles. If you were underwater, you'd see bubbles coming out right here. So I'm going to purge this out by actuating the purge valve on this buddy regulator. Anyway, this is how this thing works. This goes back and forth, and there's a hole right in there, and there's an O-ring here that seats on this part of this machine rod. And there's another one further in here, and you can just kind of get a little bit of a view of that other O-ring further down, and that guy sits right here. And my guess is over the years, because I've had this, it's like everything else I have, it's 30, 40 years old. They've taken a set and they don't seal so well. So I've got O-rings that are close to this. I'm going to pick these guys out and see if a new set of O-rings will stop the leak. For this first one, I stuck this pin. It's the smallest thing that I could find, safety pin, right in there. Got it underneath the O-ring, far enough down, and then delicately pushed it up. And as soon as I pushed it up, it broke. So I think I've confirmed the idea that this thing is pretty brittle. and has taken a set, and it just needs to be replaced. Here, see, it just breaks apart. And an O-ring, a rubber O-ring, shouldn't be doing that. I got a longer safety pin to reach the furthest O-ring, and I bent the tip of it a little bit so that I could get into the O-ring a little bit better and pry it out. I had put silicone grease on these O-rings and this shaft to see if that would stop the leak, but it didn't. And you see that these O-rings are just so brittle, they just break apart. Compare that with a new one. This is as flexible as a rubber band. So I'm going to put a little bit of silicone dielectric grease. The dielectric really doesn't matter, but the lubricity of the grease will help to get it in place and make a seal. So I have the furthest one in already, and here I'm just pushing this guy in place. I'm careful not to put too much pressure on the inside here, just so that I don't score any parts of the inner diameter. Well, there it is in place. Now we'll just hook it up and see how well it seals. So I'm connecting the high pressure hose here. And right now I'm going to turn the air on. I don't hear any leakage, and I'm sure you can't either. Here's when I push the button, it'll act like it's going to inflate the BC, but there's no leakage. So I consider this a solved problem. Hey, if you got something from this video, hit the like, thumbs up button. It'd be great if you subscribed. It helps the channel. Only 1% of the folks that look at stuff like this hit the like button or hit the subscribe button. It's it's remarkable. If you don't get anything from it, don't hit either one of them. Also, it would be great if you made a comment if you have some interest in this and have a question or some input. It'd be great. I don't get that many comments. Maybe because the videos are pretty self-explanatory, or maybe because nobody wants to comment. Who the hell knows? Anyway, thanks for watching. Have a great day.